Hello everyone, and welcome back to CARPO's Complaints once again. This honestly is more of a secondary channel. Of course, I have been through a lot of different channels as far as this was a cannabis channel, and then it was something else. I don't recall. I talked more about Kratom or something, and these days it's just CARPO's Complaints merely because it's where I talk about things that may be either more controversial or topics that I just want to bitch about. And I'm sure there's plenty of things I could complain about in this world, but it's not really about that. It's, I would say this video is more about a positive, hopefully a positive affirmation. You can do it, to push yourself to try new things and do things that you're afraid of, things that may end in failure. Um, and That's really the main, I guess, the main thing is that the two reasons I can focus on negativity is one, the negative things that happen help push us to make us do better. But number two, when it comes to negative things in society, the reason I complain about those is because they hold us back from being our full selves, right? Certain laws and regulations, or being falsely imprisoned, all these things you might have a legitimate gripe about because they hold you back from being yourself, from being who you want to be. But anyhow, in today's discussion, I would like to talk about a couple different things. I guess I thought about complaining about not being able to complain, if that makes sense. No, of course it doesn't. The fact that I haven't made a video in about a week is I've been actually kind of tied up trying to build guitars and create things, but at the same time, I've also been banished from this channel for a week because YouTube decided to give me a strike on my channel for dangerous content, talking about what's going on in the world the way I see it. And it was kind of silly because I can't even talk about the topics that I was talking about. So it's like complaining about not being able to complain, right? I set up this channel so I could complain about a few things. One of them was how my kids are being treated in their schools, and hey, they're whatever. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit and complain about it because I actually have a pretty positive outlook on life right now, and I want to keep it that way. And which brings me, I guess, to the discussion about trying to keep things positive, to try to push yourself to do new things, because things are scary, because we never know what's coming next. I actually mentioned this. I actually have a second channel. Well, not my Carpo 719 channel, but the main channel, my woodworking channel. And as many of you know, it's basically my woodworking and art channel. And I've been uploading all of my progress on building guitars over the last month. And today I had an event happen that right before I just went to the store, I came back, grabbed a couple beers. I thought, well, this is a good time to just kick back and relax. Not complain, not dwell on the fact that I had put a lot of hours into this thing, and then the worst thing that you could possibly imagine happened. Something that I thought might happen. So this was the guitar I was building. I had it all stained. It was ready for lacquer. It's just the way I wanted it almost. But if you are a guitarist, you'll notice that it's not a through neck, but a one solid piece guitar that was carved out of an old table. And the only issue that happened, this was the old like Murphy's Law thing, right? I cut the whole guitar out of one piece of wood. I got it all shaped up, and then after I started cutting into the neck, because it has to be cut out, I noticed there was one problem with it. There was would look like about a 3/4 inch dowel going through the table, probably where two pieces of the wood connected, because it was three big 2x12s. And I kind of laughed, thinking that's the weakest point in the entire guitar. And since I'm doing this a little bit differently than other versions and making it my own, it was only a matter of time until I put the strings on today and the head snapped. Broke right off. And I had them almost completely tuned. Before I did that, I played a good little tune, a little G and an A chord, and then I tuned them up to accurate, and like right when I got to the point where they were almost totally in tune, it just went snap. So, as you can see in the end here, there is what they call there's a little metal thing in here, and that goes all the way through. It's called a truss rod, and you use that to adjust the neck. And after you do that, you put on the fretboard, which is Purple Heart, and I put in my own inlays. I put on my own frets. Got it all ready. I have the pickups in there and all the electronics, and then the head just snaps right off. So the funny part is this is right here in the neck. You probably can't see it, but this whole part of the neck right here was that plug I was telling you. It was pretty much of anywhere it could have been. It was in the very worst part of the guitar, and I kind of laughed as I was making it, thinking it may or may not work, and it is what it is at this point. I will get it to work. I'll put glue on it, and I will fix it. But that's okay, because as I said, I'm experimenting, I'm learning, and I'm trying new things. Keeping that positive attitude is important. I made this the other day because people were saying nobody makes those because it's not going to work, because it won't work, because nobody makes them. And that's, there's a part that goes right on the top of a guitar. It's called the nut, and it's on all guitars have a nut right here, and that's what keeps the strings and holds them in line as they go down. It's always been one of those daunting tasks to make one for a lot of people who haven't made one, myself included. Oh, I dropped it again. I thought, okay, the resonance of a nut depends on what you make it out of. Make it out of stone, right? Well, no, of course not. It's too hard to make it out of stone, and they're too fragile, and yada yada. I thought that's an excuse, so that's a challenge. So I made this out of Jadeite. Now, I don't know how well you can see that. I'll try to focus in on it. Let's see if I can move the camera a little bit over here. Jadeite is basically the base material that jade is. It's a green material. Now, if you look at the top of this piece, you'll see that it's notched. It has 6 little notches in it. That's what I have my strings going over. And mind you, before it broke, it was actually holding. So the whole thing is actually clear. By holding a laser up to it, you can see that it's semi-transparent or semi-opaque. And from my side, it's just got these beautiful green swirls. But at any rate, I made that out of stone. I cut it with my stone cutter and grinder and polished it and dremeled out the grooves and told myself I'm going to do this. I made a couple sample pieces and then just said I'm going to make one and I'm going to do it. And it was on the guitar when the head broke, but definitely not down to its final size or anything. But the point being that it's something that I kind of laugh at myself for doing sometimes, trying things that I'm not quite ready for as far as I think, that, maybe I shouldn't do a certain way. But until I have a better reason why not to do things the way I like to do them or want to do them, when I don't get me wrong. I mean, I listen to people. I have watched a lot of tutorials and videos and luthier videos to try to understand how things are made, and perused several forums and discussions. And it's an amazing time to be alive, where you can get all the information straight from the mouths of the people who do things. It's funny because looking back, I actually have a video about how to use a Krieg jig. And a Krieg, K-R-E-G, is the company who makes these pocket hole jigs. So it allows you to put pocket holes, like you clamp it onto the wood and you can drill a really long slanted hole and connect 2 pieces of wood with a screw that goes through one into the other at an angle on the inside and never shows. I used pocket hole jigs for building cabinets, and I built like 3 full kitchens using pocket holes, and I love those things. And these were high-end kitchens with like dovetailed drawers and stuff. But when it comes to the cabinet construction, I have a bench I made outside with a solid piece of walnut, and it was just done with pocket holes. It sat out there for like a decade in the rain, and those 2 pocket hole screws just hold each leg of this giant board. You know? It's funny that I said that. I got a fireplace mantel many, many years ago when I was working at a job site. My friend was kind of pissed because he said he was going to take it, but he was gone that day, and I took it home. A really nice, solid walnut mantelpiece. And I asked my wife, I was like, I wonder what I did with that mantel. And just now when I was talking about that bench, I realized there's another bench. It's over by the pond. It's dug into the ground. I cut the two ends off the mantel, stuck them on the bottom, and made it into a bench and just stuck it in the ground. So that's where it is. So what I'm going to go do is go dig out pond bench and turn that into a guitar as well. Because I'm going to tell you, wood is expensive. But anyhow, I rambled on about guitars long enough. That's not what I came to talk about. But I guess maybe it is. Because that's where I'm at right now in my life. I have about 7 different ones in the making. I have 7 different bodies and like 4 different fretboards or 5, and then like 4 or 5 necks. I mean, I make each thing and then I kind of set it aside and I think, okay, I might as well make another one because I have all my tools set up. But I try to be versatile and innovative with making new tools that work for me. So, for example, for polishing this, I said, this is too small for a buffing wheel. It just flies off, or sandpaper. I actually I have a little motor about that big with a little spindle coming off. I mounted it to a piece of 1/4-inch plywood, and then on the end of the spindle I put one of those buffing pads from a Dremel set. I ground it out bigger to fit on the thing. So if you look at it, it's kind of like a router table with just a little spinning pad. I put some cerium oxide on there and I polished that with it. And I was like, okay, this thing would work for doing very minuscule work. And I like kind of making my own shit. And I don't know, there's something to be gained from creating your own tools. There's a satisfaction to watching people online making like their own jigs, I've got, I know people who go out and they buy just the best tools they can. And then I see others who who try to make it because they don't want to spend the money on it. And that's kind of me. I'm kind of the frugal guy, which is funny. I just kind of spaced off for a minute because I was thinking about an ad my friend sent me. There's a carpentry dude on YouTube. His name's Blacktail. I think it's Blacktail Carpentry or Blacktail something, but he makes furniture and stuff, and he has a YouTube channel, and he's here, local in the Portland area where I'm at. So he sent me a clip from his Facebook, whatever it is, I don't know, but it said somebody gave him a brand new Oliver planer for free. I'm guessing it's the company for a promotion. And so he said he's giving away his because he thought it's only cool. So he's going to have everybody meet next Saturday at a park in Portland and do literally rock, paper, scissors to win this giant, like, multi-$1,000 planer. And I want to go down there and do it. I think it'd be really cool. I could actually take my cameras and YouTube down there too. It'd be pretty fun. Make it into kind of a little event. I don't know. The truth is, I don't know if I have room for it, but I would make room for something like that. Because making guitars with a 13-inch planer just doesn't do justice. But that would allow me to do tables and all kinds of things that I want to do. I think it'd be great. Anyway, that's my ramble. Ended up being more about carpentry and not a lot about complaints. And that's good. Because like I said, I broke the head off my guitar that I've been working on for like weeks just an hour ago. I could sit here and bitch about it. Or I could bitch about the 4-way stop down the street where the light was out, so it was a flashing red and no one knew which way to go. And I kind of had this little complaint in my mind thinking it's funny the things we bitch about in our lives. The things we think are so important. They are important, but only the positive things. And what I mean by positive is not to ignore the negative. I'm not like, oh, you just got to let go of all the negative things. You got to face that shit and deal with it. But on the real, you can't let it consume you. So, it's unhealthy to focus on the bullshit all the time. That's my thought. Anyway, CARPO's complaints. Hopefully that's suitable for YouTube. And I don't get my video censored for having an opinion on an opinion about an opinion. Talk to y'all next time. And if you want to support the channel, check out Patreon, where I have, I'm going to make another video right now for Patreon. I try to upload separate videos, and I'll put links on there to videos that I don't put on YouTube, at least not public, as a thank you to my patrons. And also, I wanted to say, check out the podcast, 15-Minute Free Thinking. Should be in the description. If it's not, you can find it. If you can't find it, let me know, and I'll find it for you. Peace and love. See you next time. Be well.